Hi, I'm Shannon Rollins with Shannon Rollins Real Estate. Whether you are buying or selling, it's best to be prepared for hiccups along the way just in case. More times than not, your buying or selling experience is going to be a smooth, stress-free experience. But I always like to caution people that it's best to be prepared that there could be hiccups along the way, to remain calm and talk through options in order to achieve your final goal of buying or selling that home. What do I mean, hiccups and options? Well, let's talk about a few examples. It will depend, of course, on that particular situation, but you're going to get the gist of it. Okay, you are a buyer. Right before you go do your home inspection, you get a call from the online lender that you picked saying, hey, I'm sorry, I didn't look at your background thoroughly enough and you can't qualify to buy this price range of a house. You are devastated. You have fallen in love with this house, about to spend money on a home inspection, and they call with this, I thought they had you pre-qualified, right? Well, stop. What do? We've had this happen with other buyers that were not our buyers. And so what we did is we suggest call our lending partner, Mata Mortgage Simplified. And they were able to work it out. They figured out how to make it work out just fine for that buyer, and they were able to proceed and even sometimes got a better deal than what the other lender was telling them. Another option might be that you go to the seller and say, I'm sorry, I found out I can only qualify for X. Would you consider this price if it's not a huge difference in what your agreement was? Or maybe the lender looks at if it was going to have both you and your spouse on the contract. Well, what if it would take one of you off of the contract? Does the situation look better? Maybe there were some credit issues on one of the spouses. And then after closing, you could just deed the property into both of your names. So that's what I'm saying. There's options. Always remain calm and talk with your agent through what are possible options so we can accomplish our goal. Another example, you are the seller in this scenario. The seller has secured a full price contract on their house. They're thrilled. They've got a contract on another house they are buying. They go do the home inspection on the house they are buying, only to find out there are foundation issues. They do not want to proceed with buying this house. Oh my gosh, what do? They don't want to sell and be homeless. Well, there's options. First of all, you could ask the buyer if they'd be willing to terminate the contract. If the buyer absolutely loves the house, they're likely not going to be willing to do that. But the buyer, because they do love the house, is probably going to be a little bit more flexible. You might negotiate the contract with an addendum to give you more time until closing, or you might do the closing and you go ahead and have the right to occupy up to so many weeks after closing, so you can find another house but ensure yourself you've got the money in the bank from selling. Or you may simply decide, you know what, I want to build a house. Let's just go rent a house so I can take my time building a house and not feel pressure. A third scenario, the buyer goes to do their home inspection, and in the home inspection they discover the roof is much older than both them and the seller thought. The seller's not the original owner, so they really didn't know for sure how old the roof was. And you find out there's only a couple years left on the roof. Well, you knew the roof wasn't brand new, but you also didn't know that the roof was that old. So maybe you can negotiate some compromise with the seller. Maybe the seller will give you some roof allowance, or perhaps the seller will pay some of your closing costs so that you can save some money to pay for a roof down the road when you need it. Always try to work through some options and explore that and remain calm. Things are not always in your control or your agent's control, but there usually is a way to work it out. If you are thinking about buying or selling, click on the link below. We would love to help you. And remember, my team and I are on standby 7 days a week, ready to help you take the smoother road to sold.